Hello, everyone. I'm just coming on a little early so that people can come in and join us and I can say hi to whomever is here. So if you are joining me live right now, I see there's a few of you in here. Do me a favor, click the little like button and leave a little comment letting me know where you are watching in from. I love it when my earbuds actually kind of fan out because it looks like I've got like wings or something. Let me know, where are you watching in from? Type in the comments below. I want to say hello to all of you. I'm coming in to you guys from New York City. I'm in the East Village of Manhattan. And so hello, Jade at home. Hey, New York. Hey, LA. I'm so glad you're home and in your living room. Hello, Bay Area, California. Hey, we got some Californians in here. We got some New Yorkers. We got some Canadians. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Bret Shuford. I'm a Broadway actor and the Broadway Life Coach. Currently in the Broadway cast of Wicked, which is actually my 8th Broadway credit. So I've been doing theater in New York for a while, plus some television and film work, including The Good Fight and Law & Order SVU, and movies, The Wolf of Wall Street. So I'm a working actor, and of course, we're all in this together right now, and it's been an interesting time for our community and for the people in the theater community. As we all know, things are starting to come back to life, but it's a great time for us to really be focusing on what the things we can control and really getting some lessons learned for ourselves right now during this time. Hi, Marco. Hi, Candy. Hi, Lizzie. Therese. Hello in Florida. Hello, Wilmington. For those of you that don't know me, again, I'm Bret Shuford. I'm originally from Southeast Texas, but I moved to New York in 1999 to pursue a career in the theater, and it's been really good to me. I love theater. I love musical theater, and so I really wanted to get on and talk about some things that I've learned not only in my career as a Broadway actor, but also coaching people as a life and career coach for people who want to pursue a career in musical theater. It is definitely a different skill set from a lot of other acting worlds. And I think that it can be very confusing for a lot of people because so many of us, and let me know in the comments, so many of us come from different backgrounds. What are you a singer mostly? Are you a dancer mostly? Are you an actor mostly? Let me know what you really find yourself mostly highly trained in. For me, I spent most of my early years as a dancer. I did a lot of dancing growing up in high school. And then, of course, because I was a very strong dancer, it was great for ensemble, understudy work. So my early career, in my teenage years and my college years, I would spend my summers doing ensemble work at summer stock theaters as a dancer and a singer. But then as I transitioned in New York, and I understudied really well. I was a good understudy because I could sing and I could dance and I had great acting training. I was a musical theater triple threat trained in musical theater from a musical theater school. But I've learned over the years that those rules don't always, like, everyone's experience is so different. And so we got some dancers here. I see we've got an actor singing, actor, singer, dancer in that order, singer, dancer, actor. Great. So, I had always had that background of being a triple threat trained actor. It sounds like everyone can hear me okay. Just making sure, checking the comments. Good. Singing and dancing, but I'm more of an actor. Yeah. So I always considered myself an actor, but I found for myself, and we're going to dig a little bit more into this, that I had this ability to dance, and it was a natural ability, and it was something that I had trained in as a kid. I had, done dance competitions in high school. And it was, for me as a kid, it was an escape. It was a way. I grew up in a small town in Texas, and dancing was a fun way to, like, energetically. But I also was in choir, and I also took voice lessons, and I did a lot of musical theater. And I always consider myself an actor first. But I used that skill to help me market myself into musical theater. And then once I was established in that world, I've been able to pursue television and film work and do theater and readings and all kinds of stuff like that. So musical theater, picking your strength and playing to your strength, we're going to dive into that a little bit, but I really want to start with just talking about the 10 biggest mistakes that I see musical theater actors making when they're pursuing a career in musical theater. And number one is, most of us are told to sing 16 bars. And what I see is many actors are stuck in measuring out their music to perfect 16 bars. And what you need to understand is that 16 bars is actually sort of there's like an ellipses with it, right? 16 bars actually is about time. They really want it to just be time, right? It has to be around 30 seconds. So focus not so much on the number of measures, but are you respecting that sort of 30-second rule of singing? Because what happens, what I see a lot of people do is they'll pick the first 16 bars of a song and they'll stop it there. But if it doesn't make sense story-wise, if the lyrics don't make sense, or even musically, if it doesn't make sense to sing those first 16 bars, find a different 16 bars and make it, it's not a hard rule. Make it roughly 16 bars, but within about 30 seconds, and use those 30 seconds to tell a story, a beginning, a middle, and an end. All right. 16 bars is, you have an opportunity. It may feel like 30 seconds is not a lot of time, but we all have cried at TV commercials, and there are shorter TV commercials than that. So you have an opportunity in 16 bars to really tell us what your skill set is. Okay. Let me know if you're getting some value out of that. Click the thumbs up button and let me know if that is helpful for you. Number two, one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of musical theater actors make is that they don't actually film their auditions. They don't actually put them on tape before they go to the room. You can actually, with your phone and with your computer, tape yourself and watch it back and see how it looks. And you might even end up finding that you have a quality enough take that you could use that on social media to let people know that this is in your wheelhouse, or to use for future auditions and submissions, because God knows everything right now is going to go online. So are you actually filming yourself and taking advantage of the technology we have to get used to doing that? I'm going to keep asking your questions, guys. I will get to them in a minute after I finish through the list. Cool. So number three, so many actors get stuck in their resume of creating a resume that tells us where they've been, not where they're going. What I mean by that is, a resume cannot or should not be just a list of experiences we've had professionally. When I look at a resume, I want it to tell me, where do you want to go? If you've only got college theater on there, then tell me, what is it that you did in that college theater that directs me to where you want to be cast? So if there's things on that, roles that you played, that's what you want to lead with. Lead with the credits that that tell me the direction you want to go. It's such a tricky thing to look at your resume and be like, but I did this thing, I did this show at this one place. But if what you want to do is play principal roles, and you're putting that theater ahead of the roles that you played, then you're actually telling me you'd rather be in the ensemble, or you'd rather work at that quality of theater. Tell me where you want to go with your resume, not where you've been. Make sense? Cool. See, 4. Okay, here's a big one that a lot of musical theater actors do. They focus on one skill, meaning they will get hung up on a skill that maybe they lack. So like, I have clients who come to me who are maybe mostly classically trained singers, and they'll get so hung up on the fact that they can't dance, or that they have no training as dancers, that they're forgetting to play to the strength that they're these amazing singers. Don't get hung up on one skill. Is it important that you can dance? It's important that you try. It's important that you're willing to be able to dance. Is it important that you can nail a triple pirouette? Absolutely not, if you have this amazing skill as a singer. So what I mean by this is focus on your strengths. Here's the thing. No one's going to hire Audra McDonald for her dancing ability, even though she can pick up choreography. They're hiring her for that amazing voice and her amazing acting, right? So play to your strengths. If you're a dancer, don't get hung up on the fact that your singing isn't as strong as your dancing. Play to your strengths. Get in there. Like I was saying earlier, I got my first Broadway show was Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and I was a dancer in the ensemble. My second show, I got to understudy Lumiere. My third Broadway show, I originated an ensemble role where I understudied Prince Eric in The Little Mermaid. Like, I worked my way up because once I was in, people could see the other strengths that I had, and I was able to hone them while working, while making a paycheck. Play to your strengths, own your strengths, and don't beat yourself up. Just keep being willing to try to improve on those things. Okay. I'm just checking in, making sure you guys hear me. If you found value in that, give me a thumbs up. Okay. And that focusing on one skill, I think, is super important. Don't just focus on the fact that you can't dance, but also don't just focus on the fact that, like, don't just focus on the wrong skill, but also don't just focus on one skill, right? We do have to incorporate all of these things into our wheelhouse. What I mean by that is, like, it's not important that you're an amazing dancer, but it's important that if you're a singer, you take dance class and that you try and that you're willing to learn and you get past whatever fears or blocks you have around dancing, so that when you get asked to dance, it's no big deal. Like, yeah, I take dance class. I'm not an amazing dancer, but I can nail a high B, right? Own your strengths, but also be willing to work on your weaknesses. Cool. I'm just looking at my notes because I don't want to forget anything. Okay, which one is this? 1, 2, 3. I just made bullet points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's another big mistake I see a lot of musical theater actors make. And that is that they focus the audition on booking the job. And booking the job is not the goal. Booking a job is not the goal of auditioning. It sounds so ridiculous because you're like, well, I want the job. But here's the thing. Going to an audition is about building relationships. The people you're meeting in that room are people who you have an opportunity to create an experience for. And in that 30 seconds, if you create a full experience of who you are, whether you're right for that job or not, they're going to remember you. And they're going to think of you for the next thing or the next thing. But if you're focused on just booking the job, then the whole relationship ends at the other end of that job, whether you book it or not. We have to be in this business for the long haul. We are committed to this for life. I call myself the Broadway Life Coach, but it's not Broadway Life Coach. It's Broadway Life. We are in this for life. Let's commit to this for life and know that the relationships we're making today are relationships we're going to have in the long run. So every audition is a chance to strengthen a relationship. And it is up to you to continue to nurture that relationship through marketing, through reaching out. And those are things I love to teach. So come, if you haven't checked out the Secure Actor Project, that is my free weekly accountability that I'm doing for free. I started this when everything shut down with COVID. Come to secureactorproject.com. This is, I love to talk about how we can nurture relationships in this business, because this business is all about who you know. And we have to do it in a way that's authentic and real and not salesy and schmoozy. And that's something I love to teach. So an audition is not about booking the job. It is about building relationships. And each time you show up at an audition, you get to create an experience that can be a memorable experience and then let go of the job. Because when you create an experience and you're doing it for the joy of making people experience something, booking a job will be a result. It will just happen. Cool. Number 7. Oh, this is big. So many actors go to auditions and they don't even know what they're auditioning for or who's in the room or what those people have done. And boy, when I started in New York City, Google was not a thing, right? We didn't have Google. How lucky are you that you have Backstage's online resource? You have Google to Google people and find out who's in the room and know who is playing at the highest level. Who are the people, if you're going to be auditioning, who are the people you want to build relationships with? Who are the people that you want to know so that you can really authentically be invested in them? Because if you're not invested in their experiences and their credits, what makes you think they're going to be invested in you? So that's number 7. Number 8, though, on the flip side of that, is there are so many actors who it's the only thing they know, right? If you're only talking about the industry with people, then you're actually forgetting to be a human being. And no one wants to work with an actor robot, right? How can you bring the human to the experience of the people you're meeting? And that means don't only doing the work is important, but don't only do the work. Go do the things that light you up, that make you a human being, that bring you joy, so that when you have these conversations with casting directors and producers, and they say, what have you been up to? You're not just saying, well, I took this class and I did this audition. You say, I went to this, I experienced this bike ride up the Hudson River. I last year got to go to Ireland, whatever it is, right? And you get to connect with people on a human to human level. That's how relationships are nurtured and valued. So those are 7 and 8, right? You have to know the industry, but you can't only know the industry. Try to find a balance for both, because that's really what's going to give you longevity in this business. Let me know if that is valuable to you. That was certainly something that took me a long time to learn how to balance. And so I wish someone had taught me that. I hope that you find value in both of those as well. Give me a thumbs up, hit the like button. Let me know that that is useful for you. So that's 7 and 8. Here's number 9. One of the things that I really, really hope you guys learn today is to not use casting director workshops as a place to process your craft, okay? If you're going to studios and places and taking paid workshops with casting directors, do not use it as process. They will tell you that they want you to use it as process, but it is a huge detriment to building relationships at that level if you're going in there unprepared, without making choices. You really have to treat casting director workshops, if you're doing them, like an audition. You want to go in fully prepared, fully ready to make strong choices and make an impact in the room and create an experience. So I see that so many times where actors are coming into those workshops and asking to be led and asking to be guided. And it's a dangerous territory on both sides, because a casting director will have a first impression of you that's maybe not that refined, but then you'll also make the mistake of thinking that a casting director is an acting teacher. And sometimes maybe they do have that skill set, but not all casting directors do. And a result-oriented class, which is what an audition is, right? And taking a casting director workshop is about creating a result, not a process. Process is when you're in a voice lesson, you're in an acting class, and you're really digging into how you want to improve yourself. But when you're trying to learn how to book a job through an audition, you're talking about results. So find your own process, use that time in your own process to then prepare for auditions and for casting director workshops, and really go in prepared and create the experience that you want to create. And then finally, number 10. I see a lot of actors picking studios and classes that make them feel safe. And what I mean by that is, I don't mean dangerous. I don't mean you need to be in classes where you're feeling pain, but you want to be leveling up. You want to be taking classes and working with people who are at a higher level than where you currently are now. Are you working with people who have actually done the work, who are actually in the fields, who are actually training or have been trained and worked at that level that you want to get at? Oftentimes we'll go to studios and teachers that make us feel good. But I always say, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. Think about that in your life. When you have gone through uncomfortable situations or painful situations, you always, and mind you, I don't mean to be in pain, but uncomfortable means you push yourself past your comfort zone. You push yourself past where you feel safe, and you push yourself into a room with people who are playing at a higher level than you. You want to be surrounded by people and learn, right? There's a Jim Rohn quote: you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Who are you spending your time with? When you're working on your voice, when you're working on your dancing, are you working with people at that level? And here's such a great opportunity right now to be taking classes with Broadway people who are teaching classes online. Who are the people who are choreographing on Broadway who are offering services? Who are the people who are music directors online who are offering voice lessons and vocal coachings? Who are the directors and the resident directors and the associate directors that are teaching online coaching? And right now you could be working with those people and level up your craft. Don't wait to be good to work with those people. Work with those people so you can be good. So train up, network up, push yourself past that comfort zone so that you can really start to play at a higher level. Those are all lessons I learned. Those are my 10 biggest mistakes that I see a lot of musical theater actors making. I want to, wow, I went through that really fast. I went through that in 20 minutes. Hopefully that was useful for you guys. Let me know. Click the little thumbs up. I'm going to open it up for Q&A. I'm just going to scroll through the comments and see who I missed. Let me know which of these 10 really stood out to you, if any of them. I'd love to hear what you guys think. So personally, I have the most training singing, acting, singing and dancing. Oh, wow, we have somebody from Istanbul. That's so cool. Ooh, I like this. 16 bars. It makes sense what you say. On the questions, I act and wardrobe, yet I do sound much. It's all elements of film, etc. I'm into all elements. Yeah, I'm confused by that. Sorry, I don't know what that means. I have mostly done extra work. Great. Listen, that came up in one of my lives here, which I've done previously, and Katie can actually put a link here for the past lives that I've done. And extra work, there's nothing wrong with doing extra work. Just like there's nothing wrong with doing ensemble work and being in the chorus, right? But at some point, you're going to have to make a decision, because your whole resume is, if it's just extra work, if you're not pursuing work outside of that, even independent films or student films, and getting some more principal work, it's going to be really hard for people to see you past being an extra, right? So I encourage you, if you're happy with it, own it, man. You are a working actor if you're an extra, and don't let anybody say otherwise. But if you're not happy with it, at some point you're gonna have to make a decision. Like, I no longer want to spend my time here. I'm gonna start spending my time doing other things. Cool. Wow. Where you want to go, not where you've been. So for someone without experience, the courses should tell where you want to go, right? So someone who doesn't have experience, highlight for me on your resume what about your experience guides you where you want to go. But more importantly, go get some experience. You don't need a big resume to do a play, to get some credits, right? You can do non-paying things to fluff up your resume, as long as they're roles that you know you're right for. Focus on where you want to go. Get some more credits, fill your resume up. Okay, good. Good, I'm glad you guys liked that, loved it. Train up, yes. So many actors don't do that. The first mistake was, we talked about 16 bar cuts and how so many actors get really hung up on these tight 16 bars. And actually, it's more about time. It's more about finding the best 30-second experience that you can create with a song. Yeah, Candy said, I love how you wasted no time. LOL, preach. Yes. We ain't got time. No, ain't nobody got time for that, Candy. Saskia says, what are your thoughts, Bret, on building the relationship during auditions during this COVID times when so much is moving to self-tape? It's really tricky, right? So much of our relationship building right now is going to be online, and so much of it's going to be through social media. So you're going to have to, if you're not using social media, if you're not allowing yourself to really be seen and visible on social media through stories on Instagram or through Facebook Lives or through doing any sort of vlogging or blogging, that can really, and that's something I'm talking really deeply about right now in the Secure Actor Project. And if you don't mind, Katie, put a link to secureactorproject.com. Thank you so much. Right now we're talking about content creation. How do we be visible right now through the content we're creating, however we choose to do that? And that's ultimately how we're going to build relationships in this time. Is, are you being vulnerable enough to create a platform of which you're visibly seen? Because that's the first thing that's going to happen, right? You submit an audition, they're going to go Google you or go to Instagram or go to Facebook and look for you first there. And you want to really show them that experience of who you are. And you have to do that through your branding and through your social media. How do you find an agent? Joe, that is such a big question. How do you find an agent? The best way to get started on finding an agent is start working. If you haven't been working with people who have representation and playing at that level, start auditioning for places, get in with casting directors. An agent's not going to work with someone who doesn't have experience and credits at a level that they would want to represent somebody. What I will say is, an agent is not somebody you pay. So be careful of scams. If they're asking for money up front, that's not an agent. That is a scam. Agents only get paid commission on the jobs that you book. So just be careful as you go. Deborah says, I'm a speech therapist. I want to start a practice to help those with accents. That's great, Deborah. I think that there's definitely some people who need help losing their accents. I have done a few student films and small productions. Great, Jade. Keep doing it. Do you have any suggestions of vocal coaches for female tenors? Oh, that's so interesting. I mean, if you are looking for a vocal coach, you're going to have to try different people out. I'm just thinking, I don't know if you're a classical tenor, if you're a pop rock tenor, that's a big question for me. I would find somebody that focuses as a vocal coach, not necessarily technical voice teacher, but a vocal coach. I would find somebody who really is an expert in the style that you want to sing. So someone who works with Metropolitan Opera singers, if you're a classical singer, or someone who works with pop rock singers, if you're like a more pop rock kind of person. And literally Google them, find their website, find them on social media, shoot them a DM and say, hi, I'm a female tenor and I'm looking for a vocal coach. And you will get a response. People are looking for work. Is musical theater a good way to start a film TV career? It's not a good or bad way. It really is, again, about what do you want to do? What are your strengths? So there are people I know who are very happy just doing musical theater and can't break into television and film. And there are people who I know who've only done television and film who really wish they could do musical theater. But really, what is it that you're strongest in? For me, I love musical theater. It was my whole childhood. It was a thing I committed to my whole life with the idea that eventually I would be seen as an actor. So it's really about what do you want to do, and owning that and sticking to it and really seeing it through, right? We talked about how we want to be in this for the long haul. Cool. How valuable is community theater experience primarily as a principal? I love community theater. I love community theater in that it, for me, was how I did most of my experience as a kid. At some point, uh, if you want to transition into equity theater and professional theater, it's important that you don't spend all your time doing free theater. You have to start doing paid theater. You got to start auditioning for higher level, right? Again, leveling up. We want to train up. We want to audition up. We want to network up. So almost every small town is within driving distance of a major regional theater. Have you gone to their local auditions? Have you offered to be in their shows? That's the best way to start to learn how to level up past community theater. But I think community theater is a great experience. It just can't be the only thing you do. At some point, you make a decision to start pushing yourself out of that and into more professional theater. Hi. I have a question. I'm a young actress, so how do I get an agent during quarantine? I think we just spoke to that. I think getting an agent right now, especially in New York City, is going to be a little bit challenging because there's not as much work happening right now. But the best way is to do the work. Do the work first. It is easier to get good work than it is to get a good agent. Pursue the work, and then an agent will be a result of you being a working actor. Hi, I'm a BFA musical theater major from Montana with the goal of moving to New York City and the dream of shows like Dear Evan Hansen. What can I do to make that jump financially and professionally sustainable? So financially, you're going to have to accept the fact that if you're not independently wealthy or have a trust fund, you're going to have a day job, at least to start. And that's just the fact. So I want you to really let go of this idea that if I'm not working full time, I'm somehow failing, because that's just not true, right? Think about some of your favorite actors out there, musical theater actors, right? Like Kelly O'Hara hasn't done a musical since Kiss Me Kate. So is she a working act? Like, is she not an actor if she's not in a show? It just doesn't make sense. If our success only lies at the other end of a job, then it's going to be really hard to feel successful, especially right now. So understand that you can't win a Tony if you can't eat. So you got to have food on the table, a roof over your head. Knowing that, accepting that, I suggest for clients, budget out at least 3 to 6 months of New York expenses. How much is it going to cost to live in New York City for you to get a roommate, to maybe sublet an apartment, somebody's room in Astoria, which can be very cheap. That's what I did my first 2 or 3 years. And how much is that going to cost? And how much are you going to need to make in order to make that sustainable? Start with a budget. What's it going to cost to pay for rent, pay for food, pay for transportation, and pay for classes? Because you do want to budget in classes, because that's how you build your network. That's how you get better. And then once you've done that, look and see, what can you do now? Are there jobs you can take now to save? Where are the jobs in New York City that you can get in order to pay for that budget? I hope that helps. Just accept the fact you can't eat, you can't win a Tony. So that's my biggest suggestion, is just trust that and own that and know that that's okay. Once you have done some credits and you've built up a resume and you're healthy and you're confident because you have food on the table, you'll start booking work and it'll just be a natural thing. Love from Istanbul. Hello. Sorry, it keeps jumping, so I just want to make sure. Okay. I act, yet I have fear for sound effects, etc. Team player. Again, I have an ear for sound effects. Oh, I got it. Great. Do it, man. You can do both. There is no reason you can't be more than an actor. Go for it. If you haven't been working for a while, doing other things, should you be honest, been working as a TV continuity announcer? Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if it comes up, yeah. But my question really, Tony, is what do you need to be honest about, right? If you have the skill and you're good and you believe in your skill set, there's nothing to have to come clean about. You have it. So to me, I don't think that if maybe you're talking about your resume, I think that, maybe some of the roles in your resume might not play towards your age or something like that if it's been a while. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If it comes up in the audition, you can say, yeah, I took a break for a while to do this. How cool is that? Like, they're going to be like, whoa, tell me more about what you were doing when you were continuity announcer. What does that mean? And then you're engaging and building relationships, right? Because that's all that it's about, building relationships. If you don't have any form of social media other than email and an official website, can that hurt your chances of a job? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I know plenty of people who don't have social media who work all the time. So it is not necessary, but I will say that it can in the end, if you're up against a role with somebody who maybe does have a following, for marketing reasons, that person has a greater likelihood of booking the role because it's an easier sell for tickets, right? So building a following and building a personal brand as an artist can be very, very valuable if you haven't started looking at investing into that. Just reading the rest of Tony's quote. Many look down on role play. BBC also loads of role play with amazing projects in hospitals. I mean, doing role play in hospitals is not necessarily considered theater. So I don't know that that's useful. It's better to go get some actual theater credits, even if they're non-paying or low-paying jobs, because I think that it's not about looking down at role play. It's about them understanding what's useful, right? They don't know what that experience is if they've only worked in the theater. So they need to have credits that are useful for them to build upon, if that makes any sense. Hi, Marla. I love Marla. I'm in Dallas, but training only with Broadway and LA peeps at the moment. It's so great. How can we train with them now? Social media is amazing. Backstage lives gives us so much insight and inspiration. As I said, follow people on social media, the people who are doing the kind of shows you want to be in, the shows that you're right for. Follow them on social media, on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Where are they teaching? Almost everybody is offering some sort of online class right now. Sign up to take classes with them. If they're not announcing it, shoot them a message, go to their website, send them an email and say, hey, where are you teaching? I'd love to study with you. I'd love to learn from you. I'd love what you do speaks to me for this reason. How do I learn that from you? Right? Start with telling them what it is about their work that you respond to. Gosh, what a beautiful way to make a connection. Seriously. What advice do you have for an older actor who's trying to get started professionally? I started this in retirement from the corporate world. Patrick, that's awesome. The same advice applies. Keep going for the work. Keep auditioning. Do the work. One of the big things I keep saying to people right now is just because there's no theater doesn't mean you can't create, right? I love to use this metaphor that, we have all these seeds that we've planted auditioning, and now those seeds aren't growing because there's no water, because there's no jobs. But you're the sun. Like, you don't need permission from the seeds to be the sun. You can be creating right now. And then what's going to happen is those flowers are going to come up and find you because you created this whole time. You were the sun during this time. So keep creating. Go after the work. I moved from Brazil to LA in 2017 and got a job as a dishwasher. That's how I started. Good for you, man. Whatever it takes, Astoria is exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, Astoria is great. I teach kids ESL online. It's a great job for actors. You get to make money while working on our pronunciation and diction and teaching adorable kids. What a great idea. How many auditions per booking on average? I honestly do not measure. I don't measure because it's not about booking. It's about building relationships. Keep track of the people you're meeting. Notice, how did you feel after every audition? What can you do better? We have to stop asking ourselves and beating ourselves up. Like, why did that happen to me? Why did I mess that up? Why did I crack? Whatever happened? No, it's not about why. It's about what. What do I need to learn from that experience? What can I do to be better next time? Let go of why and let's focus on what's next, so that we can keep building relationships moving forward. We can keep improving our craft, leveling up. Cool. On average, how many auditions per booking? Thank you. This is great. It's important to be in good shape to be an actor. It is important to feel good. It is important to be in shape and healthy. You want to have stamina, and you want to be sustainable. Being in shape is relative to how that is for you. How do you feel? Do you feel healthy? Do you feel like you can do 8 shows a week and not call out? Do you feel like you can have the stamina to do that? That doesn't mean you have to have a 6-pack. Lord knows I've lost my 6-pack years ago. So the 6-pack doesn't matter. It matters how you feel, and if you're healthy and sustainable, you have to take care of yourself. Is Backstage free? I think parts of Backstage are free, right? If you want to submit, I think you have to pay. Katie can tell you more about that than I can, to be honest. You should only get an agent when you're ready, which means you need to be working. Work, work, work. Go for the work first. Does acting in a show around 8 times a week make it hard to maintain personal relationships? No. I've been married for 13 years to my husband, and he also works in the same field, so that makes it pretty easy. But he and I have made it work, and I know plenty of people who have raised beautiful kids and families doing 8 shows a week. There is absolutely no reason why that can't be true. How do you connect with casting directors? You connect with casting directors by being a human being. You connect with casting directors by going to auditions and being real in the room. So all these rules that I talked about, especially rule number 7 and rule number 8, know who they are, know what they've done, but also know how to connect with them outside of the industry. What are the things that light you up that have nothing to do with show business? And be willing to talk about that and connect with them on that level. Great. Joe, I think we talked about that. How do you get into acting? We talked about all of that. Wow. These are great questions, guys. Any other questions you guys might have as we go forward? I want to revisit these rules while you guys type those in. Rule number 1, don't focus on 16 bars, focus on 30 seconds. How do you create a 30-second experience with your 16 bars of music? Sometimes it'll be less, sometimes it'll be more. But that 30-second experience is what matters, that you're telling a story, a beginning, a middle, and an end. Film your auditions. Make sure you're posting and filming those auditions and letting people see who you are, not just, so that you've got stuff and footage and you get to actually see yourself working. That's how you're going to improve. Make sure, number 3, your resume tells us where you're going, not where you've been. Number 4, don't just focus on one skill, right? Don't just train your voice. You want to have other skills that make you marketable. But also, rule number 5, don't focus on the wrong skill. Don't focus on the skill that you're weakest at. Focus on the thing you're strongest at and know that that's your way in, but keep training to strengthen your weaknesses. Number 6, don't make an audition about booking the job. Make the audition about building relationships. Number 7, know the industry. Know what's happening in the industry and who the people are you're meeting in the industry. But number 8, don't only know the industry. Know things about being a human being, things about the world that you can really connect with people on a human level. Number 9, don't use casting director workshops for process. Process is reserved for intimate, vulnerable sessions with an acting teacher and a vocal teacher that you trust. Meeting a casting director, no matter paid or in an audition, should be polished. It should be professional. It should be prepared. And then finally, number 10, don't focus on taking classes where you feel safe. Focus on classes where you're training up, where you're challenging yourself to really improve. Okay. Cool. Marla says, I've worked at equity theaters, have equity points, but When I'm not getting work, you're saying it's good if I go a non-paying job if it's a good role. Yeah, I absolutely think, Marla, if you want to be doing roles, getting non-equity or even non-paid stuff that for roles that you're right for, right? Don't just take a role because it's a role, but the stuff that you know is going to build your resume is totally worth it. All right, what is a musical that you suggest to stay away from singing in auditions? Really, pretty much anything that any musical that's on MTI Junior or Kids, don't sing anything from those shows because they're going to be overdone no matter what. So Shrek, Legally Blonde, yeah, try to stay away from those shows because everyone sings them. Into the Woods, right? Although Sondheim is different because everyone loves a Sondheim song, at least I do. That's my biggest suggestion. It's not a blanket statement, but it's a general statement. What are the differences between breaking into the film, TV, theater industries? What steps are key? Differences between breaking into film and TV? Well, theater is a much more, I would say, analog experience. You need to be in person. You need to meet people on a human-to-human level. It's a little bit harder for TV film. You almost have to have an agent to get into television and film. So that is one of the reasons why breaking into theater can be a great way to break into television and film, because you can go to open auditions for theater. You can't really do that for television and film. What is your opinion on types as an actor? Would you say it's more effective to only go after parts that you're type? Okay, I had to do a whole video about finding your type on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out. Finding a type is really a longer conversation than we have time for in this video. But types I think is a dangerous territory because we can get very hung up on type and we can forget the experience of who we are, and that's more important than your type, quote unquote type. First of all, thank you so much. You're welcome, Hara. I wanted to ask you if you heard of showcases that are happening specifically for agents in the audience, and what is your opinion on them? I have not heard of showcases that are happening specifically for agents. I mean, besides the stuff that they do at Equity, I do know that many agents do attend those and have called people in from them, but that's about as much as I know. I always think it's better to go after the work, like I said. Casting directors will recognize you from auditions, and if you book a job, that casting director is a great resource for getting connected to an agent. Sometimes artistic directors, choreographers have connections with agents as well, and if they like your work and you have a great rapport, you can get a referral from those people. People are happy to connect you when they know you and they trust you. How to get better as a 15-year-old before starting to audition? When I was 15, Mimi, I was reading Backstage. I was reading Backstage all the time and just understanding what was happening. And I was doing as many shows as possible, take as many classes as possible, just study, and work. I think you learn more by doing than you do by taking class. So if you can be in a show and you can be in as many shows as possible, you're going to learn more just by being on stage in front of an audience. I'm a skilled dancer, but freeze about learning steps at an audition. How can you calm down during an audition in order to learn quickly? Well, number one, you have to focus on your mindset and how to change the way you perceive it. We can also get hung up on thinking that we're nervous, and we're actually excited. Nervousness and excitement can be very, very close. So check in with yourself, start practicing some mental things. If you've not tried meditation, if you've not tried journaling, try different things that work, for mindset tools that help different people so that you can calm down before the audition and you can really focus on what you want. One of the things I found very useful for me is journaling and practicing mantras so that I can really train my brain to think differently than the way I have. It's a practice. It's a skill that is learned. It's not something you just say, I'm going to be better about this. I have to do it on a daily basis. Do you think if you have health issues and do not feel that great that you can still be a good actor? I do think you can be a good actor. If they're chronic health issues, As long as you're taking care of yourself, right? As long as you're not coming in unhealthy and throwing it around the room and making it a burden for people, as long as you're taking responsibility for your own health issues and you're doing everything you can to show up to work in a healthy manner so that people can enjoy their time and the experience that they get to have with you, you can do anything. Thank you so much for all your tips. They're super helpful. Should you stay away from singing a song from the show you're auditioning for, or are there times when you can do so? I always say sing from the show if you know you're going to do it well. If you know you can kill it with that song, it saves everyone a lot of time to just sing from the show. But if you're like, oh, I'm going to sing from the show just because it's easy, then I say sing something that you're going to kill. Sing the song that's going to like make you stand out and you know it's your best version of yourself. Awesome. This was so great, you guys. Such great questions. I'm so glad you guys were here. Thank you for showing up. I'm going to wrap it up now because my voice is really tired. I've been teaching all day. Come join the Secure Actor Project, secureactorproject.com if you have more questions. I hope you found value out of this. I am hopefully going to be back on here. I love doing Backstage Live. Shoot me a message. Let me know what you would like me to do on my next Backstage Live. Katie is so awesome. If you guys haven't said hello to Katie, give her a shout out. Hey, Katie, and everyone here at Backstage. Thank you for having me. Thank you all for joining me. And I'll see you guys online. All right. Take care. Be healthy. Be safe. Be kind. Bye.